Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mimosa Fridays podcast, a show where we share powerful life lessons and a few laughs as Gail empowers others as she sits at the intersection of people, purpose, and politics while sipping on mimosas. Holidays are upon us, shipping containers have stalled, store shelves are limited. What will be under the Christmas tree? Unwrap your business products and services on News in Motion broadcast and Mimosa Fridays podcast with Gail, available to support your success as prime real estate in a committed audience. Contact News in Motion with Gail at gmail.com to reserve your live 3-minute spot. Don't delay. Only 24 spots are available for $297 each. Contact today. Now grab some orange juice and champagne and welcome your host, Gail Dudley.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gail Dudley. I'm going solo today for Mimosa Fridays, and I realized that I have not been sharing mimosa recipes. So let's start off with the Christmas time cranberry mimosa recipe. I realize you may not have all the ingredients to do it right now, but I'm going to give you everything you need so that when you go to the grocery store, you can pick up the items, go home, and then make this mimosa. This is what you're needing, and this is called the Christmas time cranberry mimosa. You will need a bottle of champagne, or if you're going non-alcoholic, do sparkling cider or soda water. Now, if you ask me, I would suggest sparkling cider over soda water. So you want to either get a bottle of champagne, a bottle of sparkling cider, or some soda water. You want to also get either cranberry pomegranate juice or regular cranberry juice. Make sure whichever one you choose, make it 100%. Again, either cranberry pomegranate juice or cranberry juice. And you want it 100% juice, not cocktail. You will also need some rosemary sprigs for garnish. And we are also going to need some fresh or frozen or dried cranberries. Again, you can get them fresh, or you can get frozen cranberries, or the dry cranberries, which you can normally find over in the candy section of a grocery store. All right, you're going to get a rectangle container. Once you pick up all of these items from the store, you want to get a rectangle container. And in that container, you're going to put some cane sugar at the bottom. Fill up the cane, enough to cover the bottom of the container, rectangle container. Then you're going to take a tablespoon of either your cranberry pomegranate juice or your cranberry juice, again, 100%. You're going to take a tablespoon of that and kind of like sprinkle it over the sugar. Then you're going to take another, depending upon how much juice you have there. If you have too much juice, you want to take about a tablespoon of cane sugar and sprinkle over that. Then you're going to take your cranberries, whether it's fresh cranberries or dried cranberries or frozen cranberries. You're going to put a layer in that rectangle container, put a lid on it, and then shake it up. After you have shaken it up, you want to set it aside. I would say 3 to 4 hours in the refrigerator. Some people put them in the freezer. That's up to you. And then some people prepare it the night before and put it in the refrigerator overnight. That's totally up to you. But when you wake up in the morning, hello, somebody, you get some champagne flutes. Y'all use champagne flutes. Enjoy your mimosas. I realize people put them in coffee mugs or other glasses, but y'all get some champagne flutes. You pull out the champagne flutes, and let me just pause here and tell you something that happened with me. I was pulling out my Christmas decorations, and I came across a box that has never been opened. And I was like, what is in this box? In that box was 8 fine china champagne flutes. I've been married 30 years as of November the 30th, 2021. I took them out the box. I unwrapped them. None of them have been broken, thank God. I washed them and I put them in my everyday cabinet. I'm going to start drinking from them every day. Why do we save things, people? Go ahead and use what you have. People who have gifted you these gifts, they spent their hard-earned money on getting these gifts for you. This was a part of my wedding registry. Again, I've been married for 30 years, so I'm now using them. But anyway, excuse me, take your champagne flute, turn it upside down if you take the lid off of your cranberry mixture. Get the sugar around the rim of your champagne flute, turn it right side up. Fill half of it up with the champagne or the sparkling cider or the soda water. And then take your cranberry juice or cranberry pomegranate juice, again, 100%. Don't fill it up to the top. You need to have some room left there because you're going to take some of those cranberries. In a champagne flute, you can probably get 3 to 5 cranberries in there. Put that on top, put the rosemary spring in it. And if you're like me, grab you a candy cane, take the wrapper off, put the candy cane down in the mimosa, stir it up, leave it on the side, and enjoy. Enjoy this Christmas time cranberry mimosa. I want to hear from you. I absolutely want you to enjoy it. So I want to hear from you. Let me know how that turns out for you. And if you have a mimosa recipe, be sure to send it in. My email address will be in the bottom of the show notes. All right, let's get to today's topic. Today we're going to talk about Let Me See You Soar. Again, let me see you soar. Yes, let me see you soar. All right, as I'm jumping in here, many of you know I am considered the audacious advocate. I love to advocate on behalf of others. More often than not, there are individuals who are marginalized. They may not have the resources, the financial resources, or the connections or the networking. I'm always advocating for someone else. That's my brand. That's who I am. And I am in this prime time of my life where I absolutely love advocating on behalf of someone else. So as we're thinking about our brand, our ministry, our nonprofit, our business, our side hustle, whatever that may be, I want you to think about what you need to do to soar. And again, let me see you soar. I want to see you soar, people. I'm going to give you a quick story. When I was either 6 or 7 years old, I would go around with my dad and my grandfather. My grandfather is now deceased, but I would go around with them when they were downsized or out of work or whatever happened. They used to work at Rockwell International, which was also Boeing and also Lucent Technologies. And they would go around to major homes of corporate presidents and CEOs to either paint or to wash walls or to do other things. And I would always go along with them. I was their little sidekick, if you will. And I would have the masking tape and I would put the tape on all the trims. So when they would paint, but I would also walk around with my notebook and my pencil. And I would tell the homeowners what they owed, what amount was due, and when the balance was due. And I could recall some of major presidents of retail stores here in Columbus, Ohio. I won't name them, or car dealerships. They would tell me and they would tell my father and grandfather, you know, she's going to be a CEO one day. She's going to be the boss. And for over 25 years now, I've been the boss. Yes, I've worked for people before. And I did fine, but there's something about my vision. There's something about wanting to see people soar. So I want to see you soar. As we are in December and we're coming out to the close of this year soon, going into 2022, I realize that the past 2 years have been difficult. And you may have put your dreams on the side, but now I want to encourage you and I want to see you soar. I want to see you soar. So I want to first talk about Simon Sinek. If you have not read his book, What's Your Why, I want to encourage you to get that. And I will have the link in the show notes that you can get that. Or you may want to just Google the summary that you can find out there on the internet. And again, it's called What's Your Why. You can also check out his TED Talk. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Again, his name is Simon Sinek, Sinek. It's called What's Your Why. You have to identify and understand your why before you do anything. So, for example, my why as to what I'm doing right now, my why is to see people soar. I want to see those marginalized people soar. I want to see people who have said they've been stuck for years. I want to see them soar. I want to see people soar. I want to see people dream their dreams and see their dreams become reality. That's my why. That's why I advocate on behalf of other people. That's my why. Now, he talks about what's your why, but I want to take it a little deeper for you. I want to talk about your purpose and your scope. What's your purpose behind your why? I want you to go deeper. And then what's your scope behind your purpose? So, for the heck of it, let's take baking. And I'm not a baker, but let's take baking. And let's say you want to start a baking business. People have always talked about how great your baking is, and people then want you to do something for them, or they want you to bring the baked goods to the party, to the dinner, to the breakfast, or whatever. So, let's talk about baking. Again, I'm not a baker. So your purpose may be you want to fulfill a dream, a desire that you want to bake. Your purpose could be that you love baking. Your purpose could be that you want to have more sugary, buttery baked goods or softer baked goods. Your purpose may be you want to do something with a different nutritional value. Your baking, your purpose of behind the baking is however you're going to fill that in. It's important to identify what's your why. It's important to identify your purpose. From your purpose, what is your scope? What is the scope of that? And you have to determine, do you want to go deep or wide? There's no wrong answer. You just have to determine, do you want to go deep or wide? Let me give you an example of the scope. You may say, okay, I want to go deep. So you want to focus on your niche, which may be chocolate chip cookies with nuts. I love those. So you may want to define that chocolate chip cookie. Your messaging may want to be around that chocolate chip cookie. That's your scope. You want to go deep. You want that chocolate chips cookie to break. And when you're breaking it, the chocolate chips just ooze out. The nuts are just right. The cookie melts on your tongue. It's just absolutely delicious. So that's all you do. That's your scope, are the chocolate chip cookies. You may say, but I want to go wide. You may want to have a variety of cookies, or you may want to have cakes. You may want to have pies, whatever that is. Determine your scope. Who's your targeted audience? Is it schools, children in schools or universities? Is it restaurants? Is it the neighborhood? All of this you want to gather. So get out your pen, your paper, take notes. I'm giving you some information that I believe is going to help you because I want to see you soar. Next, we want to talk about the environment. What environment are you in? Are you going to be in a corporate setting? Are you going to be in a library type setting? When I'm talking about the library, I'm talking about the softness, although libraries aren't really quiet anymore. But what does that look like for you? Do you want to be in a collaborative project where there's like many ovens that you can cook from? You have different restaurants there. Are you going to do delivery? Are you going to do pickup? Or is it going to be a cafe? Are you going to partner? Are you going to work with restaurants? What is it? What's the environment? Are you going to have music? That's a part of your environment. Does music help you? Does it motivate you to cook and to do certain things? What's your environment? Do you want a more softer, quiet place? Do you want it bright or do you want it more dim? What is the environment? Next, what are your capabilities and your opportunities? I hope you're writing this down, people. What are you capable of doing? What's your capacity? Do you have the capacity to work on your brand, to run a side business, to start a new business, to launch and leave your job? What's your capacity? So often we focus on what we want to do without identifying our capacity, our capabilities for doing it. Do you have the capacity for the financial resources? Do you have the capacity to spend time networking? Do you have the capacity to research free grants and loans? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the wherewithal to do these things? What's your capacity? Do you have the capacity to write? Do you have the capacity to give up 4 hours of your day to do painting, to do art? What's your capacity? What makes your heart sing here? What is your capacity to do what you're doing? What's the capabilities? What are your opportunities? Now, this is all about you, not other people. This is about you. What are the opportunities to launch your business, to launch your brand in this season of your life? Then now we want to go to the assumptions. Again, not other people, but I want you to think about your assumptions of you. I was sharing with a client of mine. She's a baker and she has this amazing brown sugar pound cake to die for. It's just great. And so she wanted to start putting it out there, and we was working through identifying her business logos and things like that. And I said, okay, what assumptions do you have? And she said, what do you mean? I said, what are your assumptions of the budget? She says, well, I figure I need milk and eggs and sugar and brown sugar. She was naming these main ingredients. I said, what about the pans? What about the utensils? What about the baking spray, oil? What about the electricity or the gas? What about your time? What about your gas to travel to get the items or have the items shipped? Here's the ingredients, but here are the other things. So I had to change her mindset, change her assumptions to get her to look at things on a broad spectrum. That made all the difference. And that helped her also price her pound cakes. And we were talking about it, and she says, well, I don't know why I would charge that much. I said, you're thinking of charging that much. You got to think of each item. You got to think about your value, your pricing. So y'all, the assumptions that we have to change that mindset, which looks at our capacity and our opportunities, which goes back to the environment, the purpose and the scope, which goes back to what's your why. Y'all, it's all connected. It's all connected. And this is not to make you afraid or just be like, oh, I don't want to do this. No, this is to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing because I want to see you soar. After the assumptions, what are your goals and your objectives? Again, that needs to mirror your purpose, and that needs to go back to what Simon Sinek says, what's your why? So, what are your goals? Now, here's some homework as we're going into 2022. What are your goals? Even if it's just for your brand, that's major, that's huge. What are your goals? What do you look to do with that? What are the objectives? And I just want to share this with you because I'm in the middle of hiring an assistant. And I went to Google to begin to look at what were some of the position descriptions and how did they look and how did they read. Y'all know I'm a woman of prayer. I'm a person. I'm a believer. I'm a follower of Jesus. And I sat there and I could really hear the Lord impress upon me. It wasn't an audible voice, but press upon me. What do you want for an assistant, Gail? Stop looking at what everybody else is doing. What do you want? So when I'm talking about your goals and your objectives, your purpose and your scope, what's your why? What do you want? What do you want to see? What makes your heart sing? You have to start from that premise and build from there. What do you want? When I put together my position description for an assistant that I'm going to be looking for in 2022, was that this is who I am. It mirrored me, my brand, my business, and what I do. So I want to really encourage you to look at what do you want? What are your assumptions? What's your purpose? What's your scope? What's the environment? What is your capacity? What are your capabilities? What's your opportunities? What are the goals? What are the objectives? A lot of what's, but you have to flesh these things out. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. And then your policies and your procedures. Sometimes people say, well, I'll do that later. Nope. I strongly suggest you do that now. Whatever it is that you're doing, well, what's the policies, your standards, your procedures? How are you going to roll it out? Don't wait and do that later. Do that now. Look at everything now. Get a full picture of what it is you want to do. Have a full framework and then work backwards on that. So many companies and businesses fail today, including side hustles, because we want to skip around and do different things. Hear me. I've been in business for 25 years. I have had failures. I have had failures. Say it with me. I have had failures where I had to pause, back up, and rework my plan. That's why I do the coaching I do today, because I have gone through all these different, I've gone through the money pitfalls. I've gone through the no coaching calls. I've gone through the no selling of products. I've gone through no one's calling me to speak. I had to fix the problem. Now that the problems have been fixed, I'm here to share it with all of you. I'm here to share it. Can I say I've been successful for the 25 years over and over again? No, I've had failures. And I use some of these failures when I'm coaching to help you. So then we go to programs and strategies. So what's your why? That's Simon Sinek. Purpose and scope. This is all my stuff. Environment, capabilities, capacity, opportunities, assumptions, goals and objectives, policies and procedures. Now, programs and strategies. This is where we are now. With every profitable business, I believe every profitable business should have a social enterprise. Why? Because I think we should always give back. And here for a moment, I'm going to give you a commercial and say I'm giving back during this time. You have from now until December the 10th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time to get any of my coaching at 50% off. All you have to do is use the code GAIL GIVES BACK. And that's GAIL gives, GIVES back, BACK, no space altogether. GAIL GIVES BAck. That's the code. You get 50% off if you purchase by 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December the 10th. Yes, but not only that, everyone who purchased coaching, I will then take 50% of that and help those who are food insecure. Again, I'm the audacious advocate. I'm always advocating on behalf of someone else. And you may be asking, do you have to book the coaching by the 10th? No, you can, once you purchase, you can book it whenever you want to. The schedule's there. You just go in and you book it. But I'm giving back. So you want to have some sort of social enterprise attached to your profitable business. And then what's your strategies? How are you going to implement these things? What do you need? I talk about priorities and timetable. What's your priority for the next 3 weeks, for the next 60 days, for the next 90 days? What are your priorities? What's the timetable? How are you going to get it done? Where will you start? You start going right back to Simon Sinek's question, what's your why? And then to my question, what's your purpose? What's your scope? You know, you got to identify what are your needs, which I'll get to that in a moment. And then you have to look at your organizational structure. Is it going to be you? Do you need more people? Are you going to need volunteers? What does that look like? A lot for you to process. This isn't to scare you. This is to empower you. And hear me, I want to see you soar. I know you can do this. So I have 3 questions and then I'm out of here. And I want you to please download this and subscribe to Mimosa Fridays. I also want you to share this link. There's somebody out there who needs this information. You know somebody who's been struggling or somebody's been talking about their dream. It's time for those dreams to launch. I want to see you soar. I really do. I want to see you soar, and you can do it. You can go to www.bookwithgail.as.me to get this coaching. Again, that's www.bookwithgail. That's BOOK with WITH Gail, GAIL .as, A as in apple, S as in Sam, .me, M as in Mary, E as in Edward. All this information will be in the show notes. Just check it out. But subscribe and download this podcast and also share it. So I have three questions. The first question is, what do you want your organization, your business, your brand, your ministry, your nonprofit, etc., to do for you and to do for others? I'll say that again. What do you want your organization, your business, your brand, your ministry, your nonprofit, etc., to do for you, to do for others? What do you want it to do? Going right back to what's your why? What's the purpose? What's the scope, the environment, the capacity, the capabilities, the opportunities, the assumptions, the goals, the objectives, the policy, the procedure, the programs, the strategy, the priorities, the timetable in the organization? That's a whole lot. Don't let it intimidate you. It's taking each step and working it through. So what do you want your organization, your business, your brand, your ministry, your nonprofit, etc., to do for you and to do for others? Here's my second question. What direction would you like to take it on in the future? What direction would you like to take in the future? You may say, well, I just want to start right now, but have a forecast as to where you're going. Have a forecast as to where you're going. What direction? Where do you want this to go? Do you want this to branch out? Do you want to, again, that's looking at that scope. Do you want to go deep or wide? What do you want it to do? And then what are your most critical or crucial needs? What are your most critical or crucial needs? What do you need? Do you need a mentor? Do you need a coach? Do you need financial resources? Do you need grants? Do you need loans? What do you need? Do you need product? Do you need product branding? What do you need? Do you need a certain budget? Many people say, well, I need about 10 grand. I want to push back on that and say, maybe you should start with a zero budget and build from there. Listen, y'all, I want to see you soar. Start somewhere. Again, it's been a rough 2 years for many of us. And during this holiday season, many of us just are like, I'm ready to give up. I'm done. And I'm saying, no, don't do that. I want to see you soar. I really do. Y'all, my social media, where I'm always trying to put encouraging things out there along with other things that I do, I want to give you my not my LinkedIn, my Instagram and my Twitter. It is at Gail Dudley. That's GAIL, D as in David, U, D as in David, LEY. From time to time, I post certain things up there. Check it out. My website is www.gaildudley.com. That's GAIL, D as in David, U, D as in David, LEY. But this is where I'm really wanting you to go. I'm wanting you to come join me on Patreon. It's www.patreon.com. And again, all of this is going to be in the show notes. Check it out. Patreon.com/news in motion. NEWSINMOTION. So patreon.com/news in motion. When you get there, you'll say, well, I don't really want to see the news, but let me tell you with a definition of news. News stands for newly received or noteworthy information. Newly received or noteworthy information. On my Patreon and even on the Mimosa Fridays podcast, I am giving newly received or noteworthy information. The content that I post on the Patreon page on a weekly basis is valued at minimum $500. Every post I make. You get to download these PDFs or watch the video recordings or whatever. And it's only for our Patreon members, and it's $15 a month. But listen, I put some of the best content on there. Again, it's minimum $500 value that you're getting for $15 a month. And most weeks I'm posting 1 to 2 posts on there. Every now and then I may only post twice a month, but for most times I post at least 3 to 4, if not 5 or 6 times a month with content that you can use. So become a Patreon member. Again, that's patreon.com/news in motion. And that information will be in the show notes. The other thing I want to share with you is to check out the Monday through Friday news broadcast that I bring. And I'm talking about civic engagement. I'm talking about politics. Yes, I am. I'm talking about voting and voting registration. I'm talking about the filibuster, but I'm talking about everyday news that we need to be in tune with, things that are happening with the stock market, things that are happening with those who are food insecure, things that's happening all around the United States and worldwide. So check it out. You can follow us live stream at 7:25 a.m. Monday through Thursday on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/news in motion, or on my YouTube, which is youtube.com/Gail Dudley. That's GAIL, D as in David, U, D as in David, LEY. Check it out. I would love for you to join us. Subscribe to both of those pages. Please do that. Again, download and subscribe to Mimosa Fridays podcast. I would really appreciate you doing so. And then share today's broadcast. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see you soar. If you have an idea, you want to launch a podcast, there's a team of 3 powerful, amazing women who are coming together to help you do that. Check us out. And you find out more by following the things that I'm doing so you can learn more about that. If you want to launch a book, let me come alongside you to help you launch that book. I'm no longer a publisher, but I now coach self-publishing authors, and I get you seen, I get you known. I'm that advocate that's putting you out there, putting your name out there among those who are everyday household names. I'm putting you out there. You want to start a new product, or you want to have a retail business, or you want to do accounting or bookkeeping, or you want to become that baker, you want to open up that restaurant. I'm here to help you. The other thing that's in that coaching offering, and when you go there, you'll see all the coaching. When you go to bookwithgail.as.me, you'll see all my coaching, and all of it is 50% off until 11:59 p.m. on December the 10th. But you'll also see getting to the root of it. Some of us cannot soar because we still deal with past pain, wounds, and rejection. I offer those coaching services as well. And sometimes I can intermix your business with that coaching topic. I also have prayer and soul care. You got to take care of your soul. You got to take care of yourself if you really want to see success. So I hope to hear from you, and I hope this information that I've shared with you is beneficial to all of you. Again, just to go over what we talked about, I said that you all want to check out the book, and I'll put that link in the show notes as well, by Simon Sinek. It's called What's Your Why? You want to have then your purpose and your scope, the environment, your capacity, the capabilities, the opportunities, the assumptions, the goals, the objectives, the policies and procedures, programs and strategies, priorities and timetable, and the organization. The 3 questions I asked: what do you want your organization, business, brand, ministry, nonprofit, etc., to do for you, to do for others? Number 2, what directions would you like to take in the future? And finally, number 3, what are your most crucial or critical needs? I am your host, Gail Dudley. This has been Mimosa Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next week, remember to stay well, and remember, make some moves. Talk to you soon.
Are you ready to raise awareness of your brand, product, or service? Gail, the host of News in Motion and Mimosa Friday podcast, is an influencer who brings attention to every product she mentions. She started out with a few followers and is growing her base daily. Listeners tune in Monday through Friday from around the U.S. and beyond. Let Gail help you expand and connect with new customers from all around. To get your brand, product, or services mentioned on her shows, just contact info.gaildudley@gmail.com to request her media deck. Catch Gail each weekday on News in Motion on Facebook Live at facebook.com/newsinmotion, or her YouTube at youtube.com/GailDudley. You can also follow Gail on Instagram and Twitter at Gail Dudley, and visit her website, www.gaildudley.com. Until next week, as Gail always signs off, stay well and remember to make some moves.